Everybody good? Okay, folks, we're going to get started. We're going to ask everybody to please come in and get seated. We're going to come to order here. To start, though, I need a motion to close executive session and to reopen the public meeting. Is there a motion? Trustee Golio, second. Trustee Taylor, all in favor? Meeting will come to order. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance and a prayer by Trustee Corrales. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Since we're in the summer months and it's starting to get really beautiful outside, I just wanted to read a passage from Ralph Waldo Emerson on nature, and I hope all of you are getting out to enjoy all that Dobbs Ferry has to offer in the outdoors, since the weather has been so nice. So, nature never wears a mean appearance, nor does the wisest man extort her secret. To speak truly, few adult persons can see nature. The lover of nature is he or she who has retained the spirit of infancy. In the presence of nature, a wild delight runs through men and women, in spite of real sorrows. Not the sun or the summer alone, but every hour and season yields its tribute of delight, for every hour and change corresponds to and authorizes a different state of mind, from breathless noon to grimmest midnight. In the tranquil landscape, and especially in the distant line of the horizon, man beholds somewhat as beautiful as his own nature. Nature always wears the colors of the spirit. Thank you. Amen.
Thank you, Anna. That was a great selection. Thanks very much. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Village Hall. This is a regular meeting of the Board of Trustees for Tuesday, June 27, 2017. It's great to see so many of you here tonight. Just a quick outline here. Trustee Nicole Sullivan is excused from tonight's meeting, but we've obviously got a strong quorum to conduct the business of the village. We do have to add two items, so I'm going to ask for a motion to add new item number 10, which will be to consider a resolution setting a public hearing to obtain citizen comment on the proposed 2017 Community Development Block Grant submission, as well a motion to add to that motion new item number, action item number 11, which will be to consider a motion to award the bid for the summer camp buses to the sole bidder, Royal Coach Lines, for an amount of $23,800, as recommended by Superintendent of Recreation Kendra Garrison. Can I take a motion to add those two items to the agenda tonight? Trustee Golio, second. Trustee Corrales, all in favor? Great. So we'll talk about those when we get them near the end. Okay, so we're going to start tonight. It's awesome to see so many of our fine officers here tonight who are here to support two officers who we're going to make some appointments to tonight, and appointments that is a great thing. And then we're going to make a presentation to somebody else who has served the village for a long time and has made the village a more beautiful place, and we want to recognize that person for her efforts over the years. So I'm going to come down here and do the appointments here, but I think, Darius, what I need to do first here is the motion to make the appointments. Perhaps I can do that from up here. We get the board to vote on that, make it official, and then I can come down for the swearing in. Does that make sense? Okay. So to begin then, I'll take a motion to promote Detective Robert Mazie to Police Sergeant. This will be effective 0 hours on June 28th, 2017, and Mayor Kinnett will administer the oath of office. Is there a motion? Trustee Golio, second. Trustee Corrales, all in favor? And that appointment has been approved by the board. Secondly, to consider a motion to appoint Police Officer Jeffrey G. as detective, effective 0 hours on June 28, 2017, and Mayor Kinnett will also administer the oath of office tonight. Is there a motion? Trustee Taylor, second. Trustee Cassell, all in favor? Great, passes with 6 ayes. Then we'll come down and we'll do the formal swearing in for these officers. I'm going to give a little bio on you guys first, okay? And I just want to say that, we are so very
hear it.
Who oversees an amazing group of and leads an amazing group of officers who do an incredible job.
Is that mic on, Mayor? Just to make sure.
It is now. Okay, they probably picked all that up. So we are very, very lucky, and it's my honor to be able to make these appointments tonight. And I just want to give a little bit of background. First, for Detective Robert Marzi. This is being strongly recommended by the police chief. Detective Marzi has consistently scored the #1 position on the Westchester County Civil Service Sergeant's exam, and has shown dedication and loyalty to both the police department and to the village of Dobbs Ferry throughout his career, distinguished career. He's being highly recommended for this appointment, and due also to his strong criminal investigative skills and his ability to professionally interact with the public, which is a really big deal here, and so many of our officers interact so well with our public. Detective Marzi has been a police officer here in Dobbs Ferry since February 25th, 1991. So we're really, really proud, and I'm really proud to be making this appointment and swearing in. Robert, would you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and to carry out the duties of Sergeant of the Village of Dobbs Ferry Police Department to the best of your ability? I do. Congratulations on your Rachel is going to, you sure you want to do this? He's going to pin the badge on her husband. There you go, Rachel.
Wow, it was easy.
Good.
All right.
I'd like to thank the chief for giving me this opportunity, and also for the mayor and board of trustees for having that confidence in me to promote me to sergeant. Just to introduce my family, and my cousin Joe here is a first grade detective in New York City. My aunt Pat and her friend Ben. My mother-in-law, Lorraine, who was born and raised in the village. My dad, retired detective from Pleasantville. My 2 stepdaughters, Brianna and Stevie, and my daughter Francesca, and my mom and stepdad, Ralph. I hope I didn't miss anybody, and of course all my coworkers.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Great. And the next appointment that I'm really honored to make here is for Jeffrey G., Officer G., who's been a police officer, began his career in Dobbs Ferry on March 1st, 2008. I know he gets around town a lot of you recognize Jeffrey. Just does a great job as a police officer. He became a member of the Greensburg SWAT team and has worked closely with members of the Greensburg Drug and Alcohol Task Force in the past. The chief believes very, very strongly that Chief Jeff possesses the skills and the knowledge required to successfully fill this position, which will be a position as a detective. So this is a very big step, and Jeffrey, we're really proud of you, and I'm happy to give you the oath of office here now. Jeffrey, would you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and to carry out the duties of detective of the Village of Dobbs Ferry Police Department to the best of your ability? I do. Congratulations on your promotion. Jeffrey's wife Christine is going to do the honors tonight. a village to have so many people that give their time and volunteer their time. We've always said that the strength of any village is directly correlated to the number of people that give back to their community. In Dobbs Ferry, we are really lucky because we have a lot of people that give back doing a lot of things. I've had a lot of people come up over the years. I know the board has heard the same thing. The village has never looked better. We've had a lot of major projects. The new waterfront park, obviously, a beautiful new park. We've revitalized an old historical cemetery, the Little White Church Cemetery, which is a great historical piece of property now that people are coming from all over to see. We're seeing improvements in the gateway. We're seeing improvements in downtown, empty lots. But you know, it's the little things that matter too. And there are a lot of little things that have been cropping up over the years, and little pockets and little corners at the corner of Broadway and Cedar Street, and down at the train station, and pots that are in the gateway. You know, sometimes you go right by, you drive by these things and you never see them, but when you stop and see them, it really makes a big difference in terms of how beautiful it makes the village. And we've been really lucky to have a person, a group of people that have been really dedicated, that have served on the Beautification Committee for many, many years. And they've been led by Merle Heubner for many of those years. And Merle is going to be stepping down as the chair of the Beautification Committee. And I know there's people that will be stepping up, and that's part of life. We move on, and new people come in and do things. But Merle's done an incredible job, and we wanted to recognize her tonight for all her years of service. We have a certificate to present to her. Merle, could I ask you to come and join me? That's a neat. You're walking pretty good.
I'm trying to walk straight. I've had knee replacement surgery in a while.
Okay, can you stand here for just a little bit? Are you okay? Okay. Well, Merle, we want to present you, the board wants to present you with a certificate of appreciation to Merle Heubner. With grateful recognition on behalf of the Village of Dobbs Ferry, Mayor Cihanek and the Village Board of Trustees for making Dobbs Ferry a more beautiful place to live by volunteering and serving as a member of the Village Dobbs Ferry Beautification Committee from 2002 to present, and the Dobbs Ferry Garden Club from 1988 to present. Merle, thank you so much for everything you've done. I know that things will move on, and the Beautification Committee is in good hands. And we want to wish you all the best of luck, and thank you for everything you've done to make Dobbs Ferry a more beautiful place and a better place.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you to Mayor Cihanek and the Board of Trustees for having confidence in me, calling me, not knowing, I didn't know what I was saying yes to when you called. But we decided we'd work it out, and I want to say thank you and appreciate the support I've had from Mr. Mayor and the Board of Trustees and our treasurer, who has okayed almost everything that we requested. And it's been my pleasure. It's a good feeling to know that you can do something for your village and to make a positive impact. So I much appreciate it, and I appreciate the recognition. Thank you. Okay, I have family members here. My husband Vic, and my granddaughter Abigail, our oldest granddaughter, and I told her that her mother babysat your children, your boys. Really? Mary, could I get you to come? I'm going to introduce the gal who's going to take over from me, and you will be seeing more and more of her in the village. I will be helping till the end of September where I can. But Mary Gerber is a certified landscape architect. She is much more knowledgeable than I am, and I ever will be. She'll be great in this position.
They're from the chamber?
A big hand for Mary.
The Beautification Committee works every Thursday morning. You've probably seen it around town. And it's a great pleasure, but I want you in on a secret. Our secret Bring Up the Beautification Committee
So it wouldn't be proper if we weren't that real, giving flowers to the outgoing chair of the Beautification Committee, so I don't know if he's meeting with your standard. I remember when she used to come in and sit down with Jeff and establishing the budget, it was like, Jeff would go, God, because Merle apparently didn't work with cheap flowers. But those are for you, on behalf of the board. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Can't go forget.
Thank you, Merle.
That's the beauty. Okay. I'm on board.
Okay, we'll give everybody just a few moments to, and then we'll get restarted here quickly. It's always a good way to start a meeting. Thank you. Best of luck. Folks, if we could ask you to move out, we got a meeting we got to continue on here with. Thank you.
You want a party here.
Okay, so we're going to move on here. Moving on to courtesy of the floor. Is there anybody who wishes to address the floor? Now's the time to do it. Anything that is on the agenda or not on the agenda, any concerns or ideas that you have, anything at all you'd like to bring before the board. If you're recognized, please come to the microphone, state your name and address, and please try to keep your comments to 3 minutes if you can. We do appreciate that. So, yes, ma'am. Yeah, that's right there, right?
All right, hi, my name's Robin Evan, I live at 218 Clinton Avenue. It's great to see everyone in support of the police force that we have here. I know a number of people on our street have been emailing and trying to get some attention on the speeding that's going on an avenue that's probably been going on for a long time. But I just wanted to ask for help on how to reduce it. Just last week, the Springhurst bus came to pick up my kids and the stop signs went out and we had cars speed through it. The bus driver was beeping the horn and the car didn't stop. We had a family trying to run to catch the bus that was crossing the street, and the bus happens to come during the rush hour of the trains, and it's just nonstop. There's blind curves and we've got construction going on and it's pretty dangerous. So I mean, I have a number of examples. This was the most recent, but I'm just asking for how we can help to reduce this. And I know a number of people have reached out, so I wanted to come up and see if there's any progress or what I can do or what we can do. There you go.
Well, that's great. You're doing it tonight, which is good, and thanks for bringing it back. I know that I think, Robert, we had communicated in the past, and you've been communicating with some other members of the board, and that's good. And we've been receiving input. Some time ago, I think this has been a long issue for Clinton Avenue for a long time, and I understand. There's been turnover on Clinton, and a lot more younger families there and younger kids, I think. Which is what it was like when we first moved in there 29 years ago and had the same issue. But I think there are some things. One of the things that we talked about in session and was that we have had our the village's expert, retained traffic expert has been up to Clinton Avenue and looked, because there was some consideration in terms of would speed bumps help. Would there be any issues in placing speed bumps? Because you mentioned yourself there are a couple of blind curves, and the S curve up there at the top is problematic when it comes to what is the
buses are stopping and cars are trying to make it to the train. It's
right.
You should
Right.
see it.
So he has looked at it, and there are some issues in terms of where where you could place, or if you even can place, speed bumps or raised crosswalks on Clinton Avenue. But that is something that we can continue to look at and study. I know that the police chief, probably more than most other streets, has the speed trailer that is there. She has 2 versions of that now they put out. And that probably helps during the times that they're there, right? But then
We haven't had one in that area. I've been trying to get it. We've just had the police officer come a couple weeks, maybe it was last week. We've had them come up a number of times. We haven't had the trailer put in yet.
okay. So that's another strategy that we could follow up. We could ask the chief to look into that and follow up to see if there's some, placement of that particular, and if that could help. I will say this, that since we've initiated the Slow Down Rivertown campaign, which the Dobbs Ferry has very much been involved with, and the police department chief have been involved with, because writing traffic tickets is another way to get people to get the message. Hundreds and hundreds of traffic tickets have been written over the last couple of months which is probably 3 times the amount that we've normally done. So, that's another strategy, is to get more officers out there and awareness by writing tickets and getting more, maybe placing them more on Clinton Avenue could be another way to go. I'll let some of the other board members, I think, Vic lives up in the area too, and I think all of us are very familiar with the road in one way or another. Maybe, give some input on this
Yeah,
as
no, I
well,
mean,
so.
you and I have actually spoken about this a few times, and obviously it's a concern for me. I have little kids, we like to walk that area. Talking to some of the other neighbors, and the issue with the bus is what's really even more concerning than some of the other issues. Charlene, it might be, I didn't even think about this until Robin just brought this back up. The police have been great about being up there more, but maybe at the times that we know the buses are going to be there also, that they're staked out up there, because that's a pretty big offense, especially if they're speeding, running around a bus stop, and start ticketing those individuals specifically when that is occurring. Never mind just slowing down traffic as a whole might be a good way to start.
What's a good time?
You'd have to, what time do the buses come?
The buses come, 7:55.
To about
That's when-
8:15?
Yeah, and there's actually 2 rounds of buses, so there's an
Yeah.
earlier bus for the older kids. And I know now that it's summertime, but we still have camp buses coming. There's a number of camp buses that are picking up children all along Clinton Avenue. That will probably occur between 8:15 and 8:45.
So you're not even talking long periods of time, specifically to have the police up there, but that might help a little bit
Yeah,
out of the gate.
yeah.
And the afternoon buses would be, as well, which are different time on Wednesday than they are the rest of the week. They're an hour earlier, but usually they're anywhere from 2:45 onward.
Yeah.
There's 2 rounds of buses that are
And
about a half hour apart.
During the summer, the camp buses are between 4:15 and 5. There's a number of camp drop-offs.
Yeah.
So it's occurring, the buses are putting up the stop signs during the summer as well, so.
And those buses for camp tend to be smaller and maybe
Yeah.
less visible to some of these drivers.
I mean, today the camp bus made a wrong turn and came going towards Judson and stopped right on the blind curve and let off my son. It was, you don't see the bus when you're coming around. So these are new bus drivers that don't know the area.
One of the things that the mayor mentioned were the trailers, and then there are also the speed signs, like the one on Broadway that just hangs from a pole. Whether it's a trailer or a speed sign, those would need to be placed on private property on Clinton, so we would obviously need people on Clinton to participate and be willing to have either the trailer or the sign posted on their property if we do that.
I think if once I've spoken with a police officer, once we know where appropriate places are, if we have 1 or 2 options, I think that we'll be able to get the homeowners to agree. If not one, we'll get somebody else. I think that most of the people there all have young children, and I think that it won't be difficult to get somebody to agree to put it on their property.
That's great.
I know I would, I know our neighbors would. It's just a matter of the right place for it to go, which I don't know.
Yeah.
I know it also seems tricky, everybody doesn't know the proper place for this, speed trailer.
Yeah.
Due to the angle of it and how you catch them
And since there are a couple blind curves that you mentioned,
it's going both ways.
yeah, and there's also some steepness to that area. It may not, when we consult with the traffic consultant, it may not end up qualifying for speed bumps, we don't know, but in any event, we'll have to look at what are the other alternatives then, and if it's having a speed sign or a speed trailer there more frequently and having police there more frequently at bus times, we should definitely look at that because this is an issue that's been there for
I would agree.
some time.
Yep.
Yeah, the traffic committee's having a meeting tomorrow night, and this is on the agenda as well. We had looked at it before, and that's when we requested that Phil go and look at it. Because of, legal things, certain things can and can't be done, but I want to get some people together, try to think outside the box.
Okay, well, I'm willing
Because,
to help.
yeah,
and
something's got to be done.
I do have, everybody's here, on the street.
Yeah, you know what, we don't doubt that.
I know.
So now it's about taking, finding the right action to take.
Okay.
So I think we're committed to taking action, but we need to get input from the police. Like you're
Great.
saying, you're in communication with them, so the chief is very much aware of the situation.
Okay,
So there's a couple of ideas that we have and that, you can be part of and will be part of. And together we'll figure out a way that addresses and can mitigate this as much as possible for
okay,
you.
that's great.
Thanks, Robin.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks for coming out.
Thanks.
Anybody else care to address the board on anything at all? Okay. Well, thanks, Robin. Then we'll move to matters requiring action. Action item number 1 is to consider a request from Mrs. Ellen Klein, Dobbs-Ferry Historical Society, to hold the annual Road to Freedom Walk on Sunday, August 6, 2017. This has been a joint initiative of the village and the Historical Society. And specifically, they would like permission to hang a banner at the corner of Cedar and Main Streets and 6th Avenue banners to be posted on the decorative lamp post at the gateway. This is a great event. It's really become a big deal. Linda, I see you're here. Would you like to, comment a bit on this? Okay. Well, I'm going to ask Linda Borkow of the Historical Society to say a few words.
Okay.
Hi, Linda.
Ellen Klein is the chairperson of Road to Freedom this year. She had a personal family emergency that she has to take care of, so she can't be here. I just want to remind everyone, most everyone in the room might be aware at this point, but there was a very significant historical event which occurred at Ashford Avenue and Broadway on August 19, 1781. A world-changing event when George Washington and General Rochambeau were camped in this area. The American troops were camped in Dobbs-Ferry and Ardsley, and the French troops in Hartsdale and White Plains. And they were camped here with the intention of attacking the British in New York. And it was the 7th year of the Revolutionary War, and things were looking very desperate. And the French came here to help us, but they were sort of at the end of their willingness to help. So Washington had one last chance to make things happen. And while he was in this camp in the Dobbs-Ferry area, he got word that the French admiral would meet him in Yorktown, Virginia, and trap Cornwallis there. And he made the decision to leave, which was a momentous decision. And on August 19th, the American troops picked up and they got into formation probably on Ashford Avenue or alongside Ashford Avenue, what was referred to as parading for the march. And they were heading toward our gateway. And the troops had not been told what the decision that had been made, and they expected to be going south to attack the British in New York. And they were quite surprised to be told to turn right. And they were ordered right on Broadway, and they continued north to where present-day Verplank is. They crossed the Hudson River there, and then they marched all the way to Yorktown, Virginia, and defeated Cornwallis, and that was the end of the Revolutionary War that caused the end. So this is like a very extraordinary event happening in our own village at our own main intersection. And that is why the Historical Society for more than 10 years has been holding this event in conjunction with the village. So again, we would like to request that it be a joint initiative. And we have the banner on Cedar and Main and a couple other banners, plus small revolutionary flags that the DPW was able to put up for us. And these, we are proposing 6th Avenue banners in the area of the Gateway. And unfortunately, I don't think I wasn't quite prepared, but I do have one graphic of it, which I'll pass down.
Thank you.
The banner isn't per se for the event, the banner is for the historical event that occurred. And we hope it will be enhancing to the Gateway, and we had in mind to put it up a few weeks before Road to Freedom Day, like in mid-July, and keep it through August 19th, which was the historic day of the event. We hope to raise awareness of the event, by displaying it, and we hope it will be very attractive. And the map that appears on this, for those who don't see it, it says Road to Freedom on one edge of the banner, and it says August 19, 1781 at the bottom. And it has a map showing the route that Washington and Rochambeau took to go to Yorktown, Virginia. And this particular map by the NPS actually names Dobbs Ferry on the map. So we like that a lot. And we were able to track down the original scalable version from the NPS to use for this purpose. And I'd also like to thank our sponsors who have made this possible, which is the Half Moon and Arch and Marina Keller through their foundation, and our Village Justice, Stephen Grant. So those are our major sponsors who have made this possible.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you very much for that presentation. That's excellent. And I think I do speak for the entire board, and that we're really happy again this year to help sponsor and support as a joint initiative with the Historical Society and be part of this. It's an event that's becoming bigger and bigger every year. It's an important event, and you all do a great job over there. And we'll help promote this as well when we get closer. And I don't think this will be an issue for us on the banners either. So thanks very much for presenting tonight. Appreciate it. Just as a matter of formality, then I'll consider a motion to approve the request of the Historical Society to hang banners at the corner of Cedar and Main and several other locations on decorative lampposts advertising and promoting the annual Road to Freedom Walk. Is there a motion? Trustee Taylor, second Trustee Cassell. Discussion, all in favor? That passes with 6 ayes. Thanks, Tom. Well, thanks, Linda, and send our regards to your husband, Richard, too. He's normally here tonight for this presentation. Oh, we have a proclamation here, which I'll pass down to Liz, and so that you have a new proclamation each year that we've all signed, so, for the event. Action item number 2 is to consider a motion to schedule a public hearing. This will be for July 11th. At 7:30 p.m. here at Village Hall to discuss and consider certain changes to the zoning code as recommended by the Planning Board and which has been reviewed by the Board of Trustees and the Ad Hoc Citizens Committee on proposed changes to the Village Code. Is there a motion? Trustee Cassell, second. Trustee Corrales, discussion? All in favor? And that passes with 6 ayes. I just would like to add to that the village attorney will prepare. We will notice this much the same way that we noticed the Historical District public hearing recently, in that what we're considering is a lot of language that's pretty long and lengthy and can't fit into the newspaper's notice columns. So we will be noticing, however, properly, and in that notice we will make the changes that are being considered by the board, as well as the old changes to compare, available here at Village Hall. Also, all members who participated on the ad hoc committee will receive will receive that information ahead of time, as well as will the members of the board. So it will be available to the public ahead of time and for everyone to look at when we come back here July 11th to discuss that. This will be another pretty big deal, so looking forward to that. A lot of work is going into this, but just as a side note there. Action item number 3 is to consider a motion to authorize the village administrator to sign an agreement with Lawrence, Cihanek, of Green Goats for an amount of $5,900, and along with that, we'll do these probably together. Action item number 4 is linked to this potential action, which is to consider a motion to accept a donation in the amount of $10,000 from an anonymous donor to be used for a pilot goat program to eliminate and/or contain invasive species at High Street. There's a little bit of background here, and then I'm going to probably ask Donna and maybe Charlene just to fill in a little bit. And I see that Nancy and Neil are here from the CAB. So I'll just provide a little bit of background for the benefit of the community that's watching, and then we'll get into the discussion. I think this really goes back to an initiative that was undertaken a couple of years ago, which was to create a new view shed at the High Street intersection, High Street and Station Plaza and Palisade Street, or the 3 streets that come in there with, is a piece of village property that has, been, I don't know if neglected is the right word, but things have just grown there. A lot of things have grown there for many, many, many years, and the first decision was made to let's open up a view shed there, and because it literally is one of the most beautiful views in the entire world, and it really fit in nicely with what had just been recently done in terms of the improvement to the waterfront park. Beautiful new waterfront park. Wouldn't it be nice to see it? It's also the first thing that people see when they get off the train. So anyway, a lot of trees were cut down, and a beautiful view was opened up. But of course, what happens when you do that is you start, you let light in, and then all this other stuff starts growing, and you gotta find some way to stay on top of that. So it was a concept of a view shed, but it also did go a little bit beyond that, in that there was thought and discussion that someday, and many of you that commute to the train station know there's a walking path. There are steps that go through that area. About halfway down, it does flatten out a little bit, and I'm told from people that have been here longer than I have that there was an area that you could sit many, many years ago. Nancy, maybe you remember. That's what I've been told anyway. And nice place just to hang out and get a beautiful view of the river and finish your walk down to the waterfront or wherever you're going. But the idea of this becoming, a little bit of a pocket park and just looking better, something we can really be proud of, as well as maintaining the view, sort of is like the next phase for other people to look at. So anyway, we did look at consider proposals to go back and start cleaning some of this stuff up, and it was incredibly expensive, and there were some other issues with that. And then I think, Nancy, you came before the board some time ago and brought up the idea of goats. So so here we are. Here we are tonight. We're considering a proposal where we would have goats in this area, and they apparently do an amazing job. And I'm going to because Donna really spent a lot of time on this. We all did, thinking about it. I think we've all gone back and forth a little bit. And Nancy, I'll let you and Neil, if you'd like to come up and talk a little bit more about it for the benefit of anyone that doesn't know and thinks that we're crazy talking about goats here tonight. But shall we start with Nancy, or do you want to
go first,
fill in?
Nancy? And I'll fill in after.
Yeah, just like a condensed version of sort of what this is about.
I'll give you the Reader's Digest version of the goats. They are actually they're an ancient way to manage weeds, and they are sustainable. They're part of nature, actually. Part of nature's a nice way. And they're economical. They're there to eat the weeds, so they don't need to be fed. They digest the seeds. The seeds don't grow from what they poop out. And they're kind of cool in a way. They're a little weird, but they're kind of cool. And I think it'll be a nice thing for the village and families to watch and learn from, and we can promote that as a sustainable initiative in Duxbury, which it really is. And it is more economical. There's,
majority of the invasives will disappear. And what you really are doing is you're starving the roots. So you get rid of all of the green and prevent the photosynthesis to continue, let the roots live throughout the winter. So a few things could come back the next spring, no guarantees for me, certainly. But the gentleman from Greek Goats knows how to manage them in a way. He calls them his tools. So these are his weed whackers. And they get it. They get the job done. So I'm really happy that you guys, and you had a lot of questions, and he's very willing to answer them. We most recently talked about how they need water. He'll put down 5-gallon buckets, essentially. Hopefully, the village, we can shoot some water into the buckets, depending on how many goats, and if it rains. And they don't drink water that you and I wouldn't drink. They're not stupid. The birds are not gonna, the little stream that goes from the catch basins in the village. It's probably, we don't know if they're gonna drink out of that, but there could be things in there that they would drink, but apparently they'll know enough not to drink it. So, and then the next question I'm sure you're thinking of is what will happen when there's nothing there? So I discussed that with Larry, and he said, from Green Goats, and he said that, that's our department actually, and we thankfully have a master gardener on the beautification, I was just told. So that's great. And there's a lot of people who are interested in volunteering and working on some sort of park that have spoken to me about that and probably get done. And but he will help us manage how the different invasives die back. There's like the knotweed is pretty resilient. Poison ivy, thankfully, they should be able to get. They love poison ivy. And the root system should hold back the dirt, so that's a good thing. We wouldn't pull the roots. Probably do have to cut some of the saplings where the goats can't reach, in the fall or late summer. So it's all kind of, it has to be kept, we have to be resilient. We have to be resilient and hope that weeds aren't resilient. But we do have to be really, have a lot of, observe it and keep on.
There's definitely different phases to this, and we do need now that we got it started, I think there's an end result here that could really be great.
Yeah.
And so this is going to be an ongoing project, and I think I would, thanks for that background, that was excellent. I know you've been through that, we kind of went through that before, and there's been some questions along the way. The Conservation Advisory Board is recommending this to the Board of Trustees, as is I'll note the Recreation Committee is as well. They looked at it, and they debated it and had some issues with it, but ultimately decided, let's give it a shot. So they recommended to us as well.
And and at the end, we'll have a clean slate. We'll have a new campus. Our masterpiece. And it should be nice.
Nancy, could you also address what would the alternatives have been if we didn't use goats to remove the poison ivy and the invasive plants on High Street? Given that it's a steep area, how would we have done it otherwise?
Well, for one thing, you can't really put too much heavy machinery on that because there's a county sewer line through it, so that's a problem. That was, kind of not feasible. And the invasives, if you were to spray chemical on the poison ivy, if the river's too close, we're going into, that's a watershed area, not watershed, but, sensitive. And the cost, you get some of the DPW workers with poison ivy. I actually had a horrible case of it for 3 weeks. I was going to come to a meeting about the park, the Waterfront Park in the Central Park. It's debilitating, poison ivy. So you're setting your workers up for that, which isn't good. And in general, really, this is what they did before the weed whackers, and there's no fumes from the weed whackers and the blowers and everything else. I do have one concern about there's wood chips that were piled from the trees, and they're not property is actually coming up through that, which is pretty tough, so I think we're gonna have to figure out what to put where to put that stuff, because, that we might be bringing Maui along with us, with it. But, in general, I think in the long run, it's the most economic and, successful way.
It's economic, it's environmental, and it's very practical, as Nancy did say. If you send landscaping crews in there, they're gonna wanna pull the stuff out. You pull the stuff out, you pull out the roots. There's a very steep slope there, the erosion control. If those roots go, there's no erosion control. So what these goats do is they starve the roots die, but they may stay in the soil to maintain the erosion control. There's also very steep slopes there. Sending a crew up steep slopes is very difficult. Goats like steep slopes. And the poison ivy, it seems that the poison ivy is like candy to them. They love poison ivy. So that's one thing that we're all going to look at, and I think Nancy was talking about doing some signs. We'd love people to come down to look at the goats, to learn about how nature takes care of nature. You cannot pet these goats. They're going to be covered in poison ivy.
Right, they put their heads right in.
They put their heads right in, so no petting and no feeding. If you feed them, they're going to lose their jobs. Okay? So if you want the goats to stay, don't feed the goats. They've got plenty enough to eat down there.
We're going to prepare some signage that educates the public and
That's great.
keeps them away, and,
That'll be really helpful because certainly people will be wondering why there are goats there if there isn't signage to explain it, so.
Well, they may not see them at first because there's so much overgrowth.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe they'll be well hidden.
Yeah, but one day something.
I would just make the observation that we're very fortunate to have an anonymous donor who's supporting this. So, I mean, not only is this the right thing to do for all the reasons that both of you have described, it's also something that's not going to cost the village taxpayers money to pay for this. It's going to come from this donor.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you guys for, sorting out all the ins and outs and ups and downs of the goats.
Well, I never thought we'd spend this much time on goats, I have to tell you. We learned a lot
learned so
more
much
about
about
goats
goats.
than I never thought I would.
You'll learn more in a minute.
Okay, thanks, Nancy.
You haven't met Larry the goat guy. He knows, he's incredible. what he
Okay,
does.
well, maybe we'll see him after it's all done, and we can either thank him
Well, he's
or,
actually going to stay there,
oh, okay.
or he's either going to go back.
Sleeps with the goats.
Stay there. he said.
So you won't shake his hand because he's filled with poison ivy.
There you go.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
to the extent any teachers in the area want to take students there, or summer classes want to bring kids there for a learning project or some kind of environmental learning project, it would be a great opportunity right there for them to learn about it. And it's very visible, so,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Oh, yeah, there's a lot of pluses to it. I mean, there's a lot of pluses to it.
Also want to point that the stairway will be closed off,
Right.
so that won't be accessible for commuters, so just, they should be
And I was
forewarned.
hoping that the water could get shot into the buckets so that nobody has to actually go in and out. And then, because he's gonna make sure everything's tight, the fences are all gonna be tight, sure, he's looking at me.
Has that not been addressed yet?
I thought it was gonna be a,
He said we're gonna produce the water.
If it's tight, it's good.
you have to talk to Gary about that one.
Right.
Well, and that brings up a point. I mean, there's obviously issues with this, right? I mean, I can tell you the village attorney over here is cringing a bit about where he thinks this might be headed. But no, there are issues, obviously, as Donna mentioned, the feeding and what could potentially happen with interaction with humans and animals. If one gets out and how's the fence gonna be
We're
constructed, that's
identified
gonna be done properly. So there's a lot of issues that come with this, that we're gonna have to be, really on top of. And this is, Charlene, this will be your job, and
Yes, I know.
right, so.
Mayor, I would like to say the donation is for $10,000. The cost of the goats is $5,900. The rest of the money, the donor was very, very nice in order to cover also the cost of the rent-a-fence, which we will be looking towards.
So the village's portion of this is basically $5,900, just so everybody,
The
right?
village's portion is nothing.
Oh, nothing?
Right.
Okay, it's only
Because it's
59.
59 plus the fence, and that's the 10,000.
Oh, that's covered in the 10,
Yep.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yep,
So
So
we're just
it
putting that
truly
number out there,
is
but we're not taking that out of the
no
operating
taxpayer
budget.
money.
nope.
Okay,
nope.
so
It's a pilot program.
non-taxpayer funded.
Yeah.
Have we actually, I'm sorry, have we-
I appreciate you guys.
I know in the agreement it says the village will provide water for the goats, and I know Nancy already mentioned that they're hoping we shoot it in. Is there an actual plan
Well,
on how they'll
actually,
be
we
watered?
had first discussed citizen participation, but obviously that may not be an issue, so I'll talk to Gary tomorrow.
Thanks.
There's a water truck, but we could get volunteers if it's necessary to check on stuff.
I'll talk to Gary.
We can work it out.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Should be a
Another,
solution.
just another thing I want to bring up, talk about learning about goats, and there's in the resolution about number 5, about having to clean up the excrement. You don't have to do that with goats.
We can just strike
Yeah.
that if everybody's in accordance with that. In fact, Larry sent me an email stating that there, and Nancy, I think, sent it to me also, stating that is not a problem. I won't go any further.
That's great.
How much do you want to know?
How many goats to start?
4, I think.
4?
4.
Is that,
Yeah,
I think
one
I-
is named Bo Heat.
But he.
more could be added at the
Yeah,
discretion of the,
He manages it. You
Right.
know, he'll put more in. He said there was a municipality who talked about it like you guys did, and they didn't decide until September. And we thought, oh, this is incredible, and I approached to that, wherever that was. But,
So we're starting at the right time, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
and this will run through October.
Well,
That's what we,
it's kind of,
that's the growing season, kind of, right?
But he might, he might take them away and bring them back if they do a real good job, and then little bits come back, and he'll bring them back to get that.
Okay.
So they could be on and off between now and
Probably
September, okay.
We're starting after the 4th, though.
July
because of
Yes, it
fireworks.
was decided by all parties
Yeah.
that it would be
Imagine that.
beneficial to start after
Yeah.
the 4th of July fireworks. Goats don't like fireworks.
Imagine that.
Smart.
Well, he said that the sound is more the crowd of people, so
Yeah.
that's probably,
Yeah.
so.
I know we'd all like to thank the anonymous donor for making this possible, so.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll, let's, I don't know, if any other questions or concerns that anybody has for Nancy, or any other comments from the board?
I have a lot of concerns, but I'll still vote.
Like more than you do about those, so.
Okay,
We're all
well,
gonna be very educated.
by the end of this.
And Mayor, I think you have one hand up in the audience.
Yes, Lee? Sure, yeah.
Good evening, all. I'm Lee Constantine. I just wanted to ask a question about the goats. In other words, would somebody else want, whether it's a residence or commercial property, want to use the same kind of meat whacking system for their property? And would the law be set up that they could or they can? Or how would we prevent, in other words, setting a precedent, I guess?
You talk, I mean, could people start doing this on their own
Uh-huh.
private property now?
Right,
See
you know,
goats
because
popping up.
would the village say, I mean, some towns don't allow chickens or other kind of farm animals on private property, so how would this be set up if the village is
Do
doing
we have a
it?
I don't know
livestock
if we have a
law?
livestock law, I have to check.
And this is a pilot
There is.
program, too.
No, we
so-
could.
Yeah.
You worried about goats moving down there?
Oh, no, I would love it.
Well, that's a good point, so we should
It's a good
consider
question,
that,
yeah.
we might need a livestock, addition,
Maybe
language.
some people wouldn't like it though, because it eats all the grass too, so.
No, it is a good,
It is, well, put the landscapers out of business.
it is a good question, you're right.
And another thing, you kind of answered it, like, what kind of temperatures, such as cold, can they withstand? And if, you get really cold days in October, can they withstand it, or?
These goats live upstate,
Mhm.
normally, so.
What about heat?
Based on casual observation, goats live outdoors generally through the winter
Up to
with
two?
a moderate amount of shelter, yeah.
There
in
will
this
be a
climate.
little shed or something, there's a little something that they can go, where the stairs are, I think there's a little place they can kind of hang out under the
They won't
stairs.
be here by then.
And for rain and things
Yeah.
like that, they're okay with that?
Mhm.
Okay.
Larry wouldn't put them here if he didn't think they would, he loves his goats.
No, I do too. Great idea.
Thank you, Lee.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we have, as part of this motion we're considering is essentially a license agreement with this individual, and it does state sort of the objective here, and the dates, as well as the use and considerations, the termination, the village's rights. So it's a very detailed license agreement that we basically have here. The village has the right to terminate the agreement anytime if it's not working or for whatever reasons. And then if there's any time left over, that would be prorated, but obviously the village isn't really spending the money for this, but, you know, there are those financial considerations in the licensing agreement, so I think it's pretty well covered.
We're also insured, indemnified.
Indemnification, it's in pretty high levels of insurance, right? So I think a lot of thought went into that part of it. As I said, there are some concerns around these things, so it's good that we have this pretty tight licensing agreement, so just so you're aware that's all part of it. Okay, so here we go. Let's see if the goats can get the votes.
Can I ask a question
Yeah.
first? So the fencing that we're renting, I know it's supposed to be high enough that the goats can't jump over it and all that.
Fence, and then he's gonna put up a 4-foot fence.
Now, is there also gonna be some kind of wrap around the fence? I mean, what about people getting bit? You know, kids going down there putting their hands like through the fence? Like, how's that gonna be managed?
I don't think goats really sort of go and bite people, but it's just a regular fence. We were not considering any covering for that, but if you need covering, I'm sure we can get some.
We can ask Larry also whether it's
Yeah, and they're also
necessary.
not petting
Nancy, you might
goats,
know.
they're not that,
I was told that goats don't bite.
oh, okay.
Right.
But
That's
if
even
you,
better.
if somebody went over there with a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and they got nervous and they dropped it, the goat wouldn't, you know, go after your hand, or wouldn't even eat the peanut butter and jelly on it, because it hit the ground. So, and that's what the signage, I think the signage actually has to be kind of clever enough to inform people, you know, stay away from the goats, just watch them.
Trustee Golio, actually, my friend had a goat because I live up county, and the goat will butt you if you're near, and will eat your backpack, but it doesn't bite.
They also don't eat tin cans and plastic and all that stuff you see on cartoons.
Yeah, I guess, you know, I'm just concerned from a legal perspective, some of the safety issues and liability more than anything. Not that I think it's a bad idea if this is a cost-effective way and, you know, environmental way to go. Just, I think there's legitimate concerns, you know, as Lee even brought up on setting a precedent, but, okay. CAB and the rec committee did fully recommend
They did.
this, so.
You know, I would encourage all of you to get in touch with Larry. He'll tell you, he can, you know. And you know, I work in small children. I wouldn't want to see anybody get bit by a goat. But we listened to many of these things. It should be fine.
Thanks, Nancy. All right, well, so let's see if we can move this forward. Then we're going to consider, I'll take a motion, which would, two things here. Authorize the village administrator to sign an agreement with Lawrence Cihanek, Green Goats, for an amount of $5,900, as well as to accept a donation in the amount of $10,000 from an anonymous donor to be used for the pilot goat program to eliminate and/or contain the invasive species at High Street and what we've been discussing tonight. Is there a motion? Trustee Cassell, is there a second? Trustee Corrales, discussion, all in favor? Opposed? Wow, 6 votes in favor. Okay, the goats got the votes. So, I do think we should have a goat cam
Yeah, we got
as
to
part of
go
this
camp.
too. So maybe Charlene, you can think about that. and
Great
we
idea.
get the goat cam up there and we can watch, keep an eye on them.
I never thought I'd
Watch them at night. There's a lot of people that, we know there's a lot of people that stay up late in Dobbs Ferry and write stuff and are very busy. Maybe they can watch the goat cam, calm them down a little bit.
It's good for everyone.
Okay, thank you, Nancy, thank you, Neil. We'll move on to action item number 5, which is consider motion to schedule a public hearing to amend Village Code Chapter 230-20 kayak racks on July 11th. This will be July 11th, 2017 at 7:30 at Village Hall. Is there a motion? Trustee Rosillo, second. Trustee Corrales, discussion, all in favor. That passes with 6 ayes. It's good to see the kayak rack in filled up.
Yeah, it is.
A little more down there each time I've gone down there, so
Yeah.
that's really good to see.
It is good to see.
Action item number 6 is to consider a motion to approve audits number 3 and audit 4 for June 2017 as recommended by the village treasurer. Everybody, did we review these?
Yes.
Yes.
Great, thanks Larry, thanks Vinnie. Take a motion then to approve audits 3 and 4. This will be for June 2017 as recommended by the village treasurer. Is there a motion? Trustee Russillo, second trustee Taylor, discussion, all in favor? That passes with 6 ayes. Action item number 7 is to consider a motion authorizing the village administrator to sign the renewal of the prisoner transportation agreement with the Westchester County Department of Corrections. This is something we do every year. And the village, it's been looked at by the chief, and this is a standard procedure. Is there a motion to authorize the administrator to sign the prisoner transportation agreement renewal? Trustee Corrales, second trustee Golio, discussion, all in favor? That passes with 6 ayes. Action item number 8 is to consider motion to add Mr. Thomas Cullen to the active insurance rolls as a member of the Dobbs Ferry Volunteer Fire Department, Ogden Engine Company, as recommended by the Dobbs Ferry Volunteer Fire Department. Motion, trustee Golio, second trustee Russillo, all in favor? That passes with 6 ayes. Congratulations to Thomas Cullen. And action item number 9 is to consider a motion to approve a request from Miss Kristen Connolly to have a block party on September 9, 2017, with a rain date of September 10, 2017. This will be from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Sherman Avenue. Is there a motion? Trustee Cassell, second trustee Taylor, discussion, all in favor? That passes with 6 ayes. And then the final 2 items here, which we added at the beginning, item number 10 is to set a public hearing to consider, and this would, well, oh, sorry, will be a resolution to consider setting a public hearing. We want to do that in July, right? July 11th?
Yes.
For July 11, 2017. And this will be specifically to obtain comments from the public on the proposed 2017 Community Development Block Grant Submission, CDBG. And specifically, this is related to the Embassy Center project.
Mayor, this is the same as the submission last year. We didn't get it, but we figured since we had most of the documentation done, why not try again?
Okay, great. And to take any action like this in terms of actually applying for a CDBG grant, we need to have a public hearing. We need to set that and get input from the public, and then we can decide whether to go forward. So, okay, so is there a motion to set that public hearing? Trustee Golio, second trustee Cassell, all in favor? That'll pass with 6 ayes, and that'll be properly posted for the public to see. And then final action item number 11 is to consider motion to award the bid for the summer camp buses to the sole bidder. This is Royal Coach Lines for an amount of $23,810. This is being recommended by the Superintendent of Recreation, Kendra Garrison. Is there a motion? Trustee Corrales, second. Trustee Cassell, discussion, all in favor? And that passes with 6 ayes. Okay, good work. Let's see if there's any, I know there's a couple of announcements that we would like to make. Anything, we'll go up and down the road here. Larry, anything to report on your end at all, anything?
I would just mention that Chamber of Commerce meeting is tomorrow night, 7 p.m. at Doubledays, and just would again encourage anyone who has interest to learn more about the Chamber and attend meetings.
Great, thank you, Larry. Donna?
Okay, back to the CAB. The CAB is going to be putting together, they're updating the open space inventory. So that hasn't been updated in many years. So they're going to be looking at that, updating it, and possibly have some sort of a forum in the fall to discuss it with the community.
Great, thanks, Donna. Annalisa?
Nothing, I assume you were gonna mention the July 4th
Yes.
schedule, so I'll leave that to you, and just always encouraging people to check out the dobbsferry.com website for recreation offerings in the village. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't have anything.
No, nothing. Okay, thanks, everybody. Yeah, just a couple of things to finish up here. We want to announce that the annual Thomas Cullen Family Traditional Picnic and 4th of July celebration event is being held Tuesday on 4th of July. Just might make a couple of comments here. One is the festivities will kick off at 3 p.m. at Waterfront Park with Joe Rooney. We have the raising of the flag and the Pledge of Allegiance, and this year there will be a bouncy castle, I think some sort of a bubble machine down there for the kids, and a petting zoo, and that'll all be starting at 3 p.m. For the fireworks, we want to first make note that if you're going to come down, first of all, we want to encourage everybody to walk to the park if you're going to go to the fireworks that night. It's a busy night, and we know not everybody can walk. It's not such an easy thing for everybody, but if you can, hopefully we'll get some great weather. It'll be a good night to get out and get some exercise, because it makes it a lot easier in terms of getting out of there after the event. If you are going to drive, parking permits are required. So you either need to have the commuter parking permit or the recreation. Those are the only two permits that will be accepted for the 4th of July. So
Residents can buy them at the,
residents can buy the 1 day?
no, they can buy
They
the
can buy the
recreation.
recreation, which is how much for this?
$10
It's
for
$10.
residents, yeah,
So if you
at
haven't
the
gotten
police
one, you probably
department.
should get one anyway, and it will get you access if you do want to drive without getting a ticket that night. We're looking forward to a really big event.
But Hartley, just to be clear, the day passes will not
Will
be
not be,
accepted
right.
that day. The
So-
chief was
You
very
have to
clear
be
about that.
We're saying if you want to
Be
get a
resident.
permit, get
Yep.
the recreation permit.
The residential.
Which is the residential
resident.
recreation.
And that's good
permit,
for the rest of
$10.
the season.
For the rest of the season, yeah. Okay, and I think that's it. So we look forward to everybody at the 4th of July event. Great meeting tonight. Thanks, everybody, for your input. And there being no further business, meeting is adjourned.